Dr. Lukens developed this idea of the Fuckit Bucket a few years ago, and it was initially considered his explanation of the engine of addiction. He soon realized it applied to almost all forms of acting out that become habitual, including anxiety and depression and conduct disorder and obsessive compulsive behavioral patterns, to name a few. The human mind is a conserving system. As we move through life, we file away all of our experiences, whether we remember them or not. So, every human is born with this bucket, so to speak, and we carry this bucket around our whole lives. There are two funnels that pour stuff into our bucket, and these spouts represent the two primary sources of human suffering and emotional struggle. The first spout pours in grief and losses that we experience in life, like the loss of a loved one. The other spout pours in self-esteem damaging experiences, like being rejected from a college or a romantic partner. The compulsive drive to act out increases the fuller the bucket gets. The human being can only take so much before reaching the breaking point, or the emotional pivot point, where the next straw falling into the bucket causes the acting out to begin. The stuff at the top of the bucket is stuff we are aware of, whether we are refusing it or not. The stuff at the bottom of the bucket is stuff that we have refused so thoroughly that it has hardened over time. This is because we didn't have an emotional completion for those things, and so we aren't aware of them and might need a jackhammer to access it. The bigger your case of the fuckets, the more you'll act out, like being too needy when dating someone, or causing fights in relationships to push people away, or drinking excessively, just to name a few. This makes things worse for you because the acting out causes more stuff to fill your Fuckit bucket, and the vicious circle continues. Acting out, in whatever form it appears, produces more of what is sourcing the filling up and the overflow as side effects. In other words, the acting out gets you more of what it is you can't handle and or are trying to avoid. It can and will happen for those who cannot keep the bucket partially empty. That empty space between the high water mark and the lip of the bucket is all the wiggle room we have. If you are hoping to see the day when you will no longer experience loss or damage to your self-esteem, you should know that that day will eventually come, once and for all on the day of your death. Otherwise, your life is riddled with these two forms of emotional suffering, and you are challenged to keep your Fuckit bucket as empty as possible. Dr. Lukens refers to our unfinished emotional business, evidence that there is healing we should be doing but aren't, as incompletions. Your incompletions are like tasks on your to-do list. They won't leave your list or your life until you are actually done with them. Hiding your list does not remove items, it only camouflages them, so you are not in touch with the cost of them. But they do cost you. They produce the drive to act out, or the deflation into depression, or the agitation and free-floating worry that devolves into anxiety. Trying to pretend your Fuckit bucket is not leading to self-defeating behaviors only means your dysfunction will sneak up on you, either slowly but surely bringing you down, or causing an explosion out of the blue in response to the straw that breaks the camel's back. Empty your bucket as much as you can, and keep it from filling to the point of crisis and breakdown that will lead to acting out.